Today we're doing something that you guys have been waiting for. We're going to learn how to cut. Now cutting is a little bit of a different exercise since every cut is a little bit different. But actually also they're not different at all. Every single cut comes down to the exact same few principles. What a cut looks like, where you're cutting at, and how fast the cut is performed. These simple steps are precisely the same technically in every single cut you do. They just have slight variations. And I'll show you how to do every single one of the cuts in a later video. But today we're just going to focus on how to cut. So let's get into it. So point one is after you learn how to carry your sword in your obi, how to draw your sword and how to hold it in your hand, it is how to hold it in your cutting position. So we all learned there's 8 basic cuts. Now the one is ski, which is forward, backwards. The one is cutting downwards straight up. The one is a kesagiri, which is cutting downwards at a 45-degree angle from both sides. The other one is a horizontal cut this way and this way. And the last two is cutting upwards from here and from here. There are other cuts, like coming from hustle, like we learned in the stances video, where you cut from here and you do a kesa, stepping forward and cutting. But we don't consider that as a cut since it technically follows a kesagiri. But today we're only going to learn how to do a normal shinchokugiri, which is from here straight down. It's also called a Jodan Kamai, which is this stance, or even I've heard some people say it's a Jodan Giri. Jodan means this stance and Giri just means a cut. Now the thing is with cutting, there is 2 main principles we need to look at how a cut is performed, especially to get an effective cut. One is speed, other one is edge alignment. But to do them properly, you have to be very considerate on how the cut is performed, the technique of where the blade is going. Now a lot of people think a cut is performed by literally just having your sword and cutting. But the problem is that is not an effective cut. In fact, that's not even a cut at all. There is 3 main cutting techniques that are performed by people. However, they have differences in how they look. The one is a chop, which is basically if your sword goes directly down or anything. A chop is literally like chopping up onions. Your knife goes up and down and up and down. It does not move at all except going up and down. And it makes very effective for something that is hard, like vegetables or even meat. But it's not effective when something is more mendable, like your skin. So you have to have something that slices through it. Now the other thing is a saw. A saw is when you place your cutting edge on top of whatever you're cutting and you rock back and forth while putting pressure downwards. The problem with that is very effective for something like sawing, something that is extremely hard. But again, once there's something that is more pliable, it gets caught up. And especially the fact that for a sawing motion, you'll likely need something that has teeth like a sword, which means you grabs and it grips at an angle, which gets caught up in flesh. So that does not work. Now the third one technically gets split into 2, which is slice and the cut. But there is differences again. The difference comes between a slice and a cut. It comes at the angle you hold your blade, whether that's a knife or whether that's a sword. A knife, if you slice someone, basically means your blade comes in contact with the person. It is almost on their skin, and you almost do a saw-like motion while you turn your blade, doing a slice like this. It makes like this, but it almost starts like here. It is not a cut. A cut is specifically when your blade is at a 35-degree angle with the object that you're cutting, where if it comes in contact with whatever object, it comes at a 35-degree angle. It's not here, which is a chop or a saw, and it's not here, which would be a slice cutting down. It is at an angle like this, where you're pressing forward into a cut or into a chop, while you're performing a saw-like motion, pulling backwards, meaning that you get an effective edge alignment, meaning that you do 2 things at the same time. You basically slice or saw at the person like this, but also you're almost chopping the person by having all of your force go forward into the sword. Doing a chop and a slice at the same time constitutes as a cut. So a lot of people say that a cut is performed with circular motion as you go forward into the object and you pull back into your stomach. This is very important. This is called enkei-sen. Enkei-sen is the movement of your blade through the performance of the cut, even from the start to the finish. Now the thing is, that is extremely important to understand what enkei-sen is about. The problem with it is the fact that it's not a circle at all. In fact, I don't even know what you would call it. Maybe an oval, maybe something else, but it's not a circle. The thing that a lot of people get wrong is that they want to cut down. You're not cutting down. The problem is you're cutting forward into something or into someone. I want my sword to travel as far forward as you can before you start your enkei-sen. Instead of thinking I'm cutting into my opponent, I'm thinking we break it down. First, your sword goes forward. Then it makes contact with the person, it comes down with gravity, and enkei-sen is performed into the last third where it comes down to your stomach where you've performed your cut. But the thing is, if you do not understand how enkei-sen works, your first third will always look bad. There is something that is taught with bad technique. So when I say we're casting the sword, you do this. You cast your sword forward as far as you can. Your sword should basically look like this. It goes from this angle straight forward until it reaches this point where it goes over and it extends. And instead of it just coming down once it reaches there, it just does this. It actually goes forward. It extends outwards and then it cuts. A good diagram would look like this. Instead of it being a circle, it goes straight with the line, forward, extend. It's not hyperextension, it's just extending, casting the rod forward, and then you come down into your target, cutting the target, performing enkei-sen. So that is how it is very effective and very proper technique, if I can say it like that, to actually cut. To not do a cut downwards or a cut upwards. Your enkei-sen needs to be to a degree where you cut forward as far as you can. Look at where my shoulders are. My shoulders can be here. It's not over there. It's right in between. It is, instead of coming down, it is going forward. And I'm thinking at cutting forward. All of my cuts are performed facing and going forward. After you've cast your sword, you bring your sword down. And instead of you bringing your sword down straight, you're not chopping, you do enkei-sen. So you bring your sword down, down, and naturally your shoulders want to go back into place. Your hands want to come down where it comes. So as you see, by doing this, I'm not stretching forward or leaning in. Naturally, my tip is coming closer to my body because my hands are coming closer to my body. Now, obviously, if you want to do a proper cut, you're going to go cut, bring down, and bring it to your belly button here, where your sword tip should be about the same height as your knee. So you cut forward, cut down into your belly button. By doing this, by breaking it down into 3 sections, you're really able to understand the technique that's happening while you're cutting. Instead of just saying you're swinging around your sword, you're doing a chop, you're maybe doing something wrong. You get the basics of what a cut is and how it should be performed. By doing this, you can perform this in every single cut you have, and it helps tremendously. You will never miss a cut. You'll never have a target that will bounce off, or your sword will bounce off, or you will get a bad angle at your cut. By doing this, you'll understand that it's not about how fast or hard, how accurate your edge alignment is with the cut, but it's actually at the direction your cut are landing. It is always about where your sword is heading. You're not cutting a target downward, you're not chopping into them. When you're doing a horizontal cut, you're not cutting someone through the bowels, you're cutting through their stomach into their spine. You're cutting forward. It's always about cutting forward. Now, this is a very basic technique. A lot of people would have this already figured out. But I have to say, even with the senior students, I've seen this quite a lot, that they really don't understand how far forward their sword should be, or the fact that that is why you're cutting forward. Now, I have a technique here that I'm going to show you that you guys should be able to practice at home to see if you're doing it correctly. And basically, the technique is the shirt or towel and sword technique. A lot of people have seen it, but they also don't know how to perform it properly or what it's supposed to do. This practice that you're doing is not about technique or anything like that. It is about accuracy. It's about understanding what your sword is doing in the upper half while you're not able to see your sword while it moves. And that's all it is. This is just a way to see where your sword is going, how fast you're moving, and at what speed you're going. Well, that's the same thing, sorry. But in any case, this is usually performed with a bokken and a shirt or a towel, but I don't have my bokken with me, so I'm going to use my sword to just show what is done. I'm going to put my sword in reverse because it's going to do the same exact thing, so that I also don't do anything weird to my sword. So basically all you do is you put your shirt or your towel over your sword. If it's falling off when you're doing it upright, that's fine. Just put it in a position where it can drape over your sword. You go into Jordan. If you can't go into proper Jordan, go into all Jordan, that's fine. It doesn't matter. And then basically all you're doing is you're performing your cut going forward. And if you do it correctly, you'll see this shirt or this towel will leave your sword completely and fly into a direction, like this. Now, the big thing about doing this correctly is the idea of where your t-shirt is going. If your t-shirt goes upwards, that means that your cut performs all of its energy in upwards motion and not in the forwards motion. That means you can be assured that when you are going to cut into someone, by the time you land on the head, all your energy will be sapped because you put all of your speed going upwards instead of it going forwards. Now, another thing is if you cut downwards. If the t-shirt goes downwards, that does not mean necessarily you did anything wrong on the upswing. It just means you put so much effort into the downswing that even if your shirt was going to break inertia of your sword, going to fly off of it, you now put extra emphasis on the downswing part that it cannot do anything else but go with the sword. Meaning that in essence, you're technically doing a chop. You're doing this. It can be perfect, cut down. You're not cutting forward into the person again. So if there's a person here and it's really about my eye, there will be a difference between me cutting into the head of the person or cutting a little bit in front where I just pass, let's say, the ma'ai or the perfect point of where the cut should be performed, and I'll basically cut into the person, and if there's anything in its way, it won't be a cut, it will be a chop down, chopping into whatever is in the sword's path. So, by doing that you already see the two biggest mistakes people make. Cutting upwards or cutting downwards. And you want to cut forwards. This thing, this shirt or towel, whatever it is, should literally pass your object within a 30 centimeter range of where you want the cut to perform. As I said, this is an accuracy test. So if we're doing Jordan or Shinchokugiri, meaning I want to cut the person on its head, it means that my towel should pass the person's head within 30 centimeters. And when I say within 30 centimeters, I mean literally, if I'm cutting down here, it should be 30 centimeters exactly above my head. If I hit them in the face, that's also fine. The difference is, again, it's between cutting downwards from on top into cutting into their face. And the idea with Shinchokugiri is it's a downwards cut. So you're cutting almost into the top part of my forehead, cutting downwards instead of cutting into my face or down from the top. So by doing that, you want the towel to move within 30 centimeters above or straight into the upper quadrant of their head. By doing this, like that, that means that I get the perfect cut. That means that my speed on top, my angle at which my blade is traveling forward is exactly the same. And the inertia my towel or my shirt has to overcome to leave my sword is all into the forward swing, meaning that I will have the most perfect and most effective cut when I cut forward. As I said in a later video, I'll talk more about tachikase because that brings in a big part when you actually get this correctly. But we'll talk about that later. So as I said, now that you have your accuracy correct, you have the speed and the angle at which you're cutting forward correctly, we have to move on into understanding why you cut in this specific reason. And I'm going to do this by showing you both kesagiri and gyaku kesagiri. Going from shinshoku-giri to kesagiri basically means that the difference is not cutting from here at 45 degrees, it's cutting at the last second. When you do the flick of the sword forward, you flick outwards into 45 degrees and come down. By doing this, you exaggerate your sword into a position where your head is basically exposed. Now, the reason we had to learn the previous cut or the previous way of cutting is because nothing changes between that and this. The difference is literally, as I flick my sword out, like I said, casting the rod, I cast my rod at 45. If I come out here and I cast 45, it's going to throw my whole body into 45. It's only my sword that travels at 45-degree angle, coming down, turning my body. So it's the same principle, cutting forward, coming down. And that makes a big difference because a lot of people, even on kesagiri, they really want to exaggerate the cut downwards. And that's perfectly fine, but it is a chop, it's not a cut. Your cut, it's really about doing this, coming down. Cutting. And that makes a big difference. On gyaku, it's the same thing. Gyaku is a kesagiri in reverse. Gyaku means reverse, so reverse kesagiri. A lot of people really think gyaku is very hard. It's this big thing. How do you do it? I don't know. It's hard. It doesn't feel effective. And it's true. It is a very hard technique to properly do. But the thing with gyaku is it is just a normal cut again. You think you go forward from year to year. You think the same thing from year to year. You are now extending your hand and flipping exactly the opposite direction. So from here, you go here. If you were going to land your blow there, you need to land your blow there. It's the exact same. And a lot of people really struggle with gyaku kesagiri because they're struggling about doing the cut, breaking gravity, going fast enough and so forth. But they actually struggle with doing a gyaku correctly because they're not doing a cut at all. Your kesa should be looking like this. Forward, down. Forward, down. Down happens here. So your pullback, just like you would pull back here, happens here. So to be able to pull back, you cannot be here. You cannot be here because what's there to pull back if you're shrimping up over here and trying to extend over there? You're extending down here before you hit your target. Before the target is even being cut yet, your sword is already extended and you cut upwards, bringing your sword back. Bringing the sword back is the enke sen that is very important for any cut to be considered a cut. Now, the reason I want to show gyaku is because a lot of people miss gyaku as well. Being able to cut through someone like this is a very hard technique because you're beating gravity. You have to go fast enough, and it is not natural to want to extend there and pull back here. But again, the thing is you need to practice how to do it correctly. And you need to practice where the sword lands. So by doing that, you take the same technique as what you did up here, you do down here. You put the cloth over your sword, you go down here. Now it feels like it's going to fall off, but if you do it correctly, you should technically have a very effective throw. Now, as you see, I'm flipping my sword again just because it's going to make it easier for me to do it correctly. The only difference is, again, a cut is performed from 30 centimeters from where you want to hit your target to 30 centimeters when you leave the target. So if I'm going to go into the side of someone, I want this shirt to pass here, meaning that my fullest energy and my most effective speed crosses into here, into this path, or starts here, meaning I can have all of the momentum and all of the speed going straight through my target. So it's the same idea. Instead of thinking that your target should go through here, on a kesa, your target should go here. And your target should go here on a gyaku. And you practice this. You practice with the upswing. And as you saw, it felt like it fell off. But then as I came through, it went straight through. And you can't see it, but it's on the table right next to the tripod, exactly where I would have wanted my sword to enter the person's body. Now, this was a little bit of an extended edition on what it is like to do a cut. And I even showed you some tips on how to practice your casting of the sword and how to practice the accuracy of the sword. A lot of people do use that towel technique as an idea of how to do a perfect cut in terms of speed and so forth. But I've really found that the most important thing you can learn out of that thing is your accuracy. Is the accuracy of how your sword is traveling when you cannot see it, whether it's behind you on the ground, behind you in middle position, behind you at upper position. It is the same thing. Is your sword traveling forward? Are you casting your sword out? And are you then hitting critical speed at the exact point where you need to do it? That's all it's about. Now you need to practice that with the towel. After that, you can go into your sword and you can just do your cuts. Keep on going into it. Keep on doing that. And even if you have to do the first third completely the whole time, just practice this the whole time, the whole time, the whole time, the whole time. It will learn your body to understand on what a cut feels like and how you should be able to achieve it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope I can see you in the next one, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.